Well, hello, how you doing? I haven't done a video for a while because I actually broke one of my lenses and I haven't had the chance to replace it yet. But that's not a problem, I'll just do it. I'm doing it on my phone at the moment. But I've actually ended up picking up a cheap camcorder online. What did I pick up? I picked up a really cheap camcorder. It was like, it was a Chinese sort of branded, Hong Kong branded one. But I mean, to be honest, it looked like it had pretty good specs on it in retrospect. So I was pretty happy with that. I was like, cool, not a problem. That works, great. I'll see how it goes. I mean, it didn't cost a massive amount of money, so I'm just waiting to get it shipped to me, basically. So at this point, I'm just waiting for it to arrive. When it does arrive, I'm going to test that out and just see how it goes. In between that, I fixed up the workbench machine, which was having a problem with the motherboard. The motherboard was pretty much being a pain in the ass, and as you can see, I've got all my updates and everything else working now, and I've also found out some of my RAM doesn't really agree with this motherboard per se. I tried to sort of get the same sort of speed RAM, so I had some very conditioned RAM. I think it was like 1600, and I put that in. It seems to be running pretty well. So far, so good. I'm not going to complain too much. And what else? I got a new power supply, new motherboard, and of course the new CPU, which I got a while back. But the problem is I thought my motherboard, the other motherboard, which I ended up chucking out, I couldn't be bothered trying to get the warranty back on it, to be truthful. I just went, fuck it. On top of that, business has been pretty good, so lately I've had a bit more money to, throw around if I need to, into things like this, parts specifically for the workbench computer and stuff. So that's all good. That computer's working nicely, which is great, by the way. This computer I'm selling at the moment. It's my torch, as you can see. Fucking bright motherfucker. Holy shit. Yeah, anyway. Then I got the computer in the corner here, which is my dad's girlfriend's computer, which she hasn't picked up yet. That's fine, she will eventually. Then here I had some parts, and I had a new build today, which I did. Which the build was, the build basically involved getting some of his other parts and everything else out of his computer, and he let me keep the original parts that were there. And he said, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to use them anyway." And we sort of built him a new rig. Well, technically a new rig. He bought a case as well. He got a case. He got a couple other things as well, and everything's working really nicely. So he's pretty happy at this point. The only thing he wants to do is put an SSD in it. I just have to do a reinstall pretty much when the SSD comes around. So at this point in time, got a bunch of stuff here, got a bunch of stuff there. I've sold a bunch of stuff on eBay, and I'm just waiting for some money to clear it into my PayPal account pretty much at this point, which sometimes it's a fast process, sometimes it's a slow process, just depends really. In between that, the place is a little more organised, I think, honestly. So I've got this little shelving here, the thing that my dad got, and as you can see here, this is, what's it doing? It's just working on updates at the moment. It's just doing an update on, it's doing an update. Basically, I think it's updating the latest version of Windows 10 16.1607 or something like that. I think it's the anniversary edition anyway. Aside from that, everything's been pretty good. I've been pretty run off my feet. I've also been answering a lot of emails and stuff, just queries about prices and queries about stuff. I've been sort of getting my website more registered and stuff. I've actually got a website now, which is www.fallencomputerrepair.com. It sort of ties in with my YouTube as well. I've got all the social media links and all that type of stuff up there. At this point, I'm just doing some stuff with, I've been mucking around in the workshop most of the day, working on his computer pretty much. And then I also did some stuff with my workbench computer, which I needed to get back up and running, which now it is, and now I'm quite happy that that's the case, because it was rather daunting. I also added some extras to the workbench computer, which is a 1 terabyte hard drive that I had. That drive is perfectly, I'm going to be using that as an extra storage drive, specifically for the purpose of just custom backups and data and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. Then, in between that, I've been trying to keep myself busy with just doing different online stuff, but I haven't done a massive amount. I wish I could do more. At this point, I want to wait till I get this camcorder and see how that performs. Unfortunately, the short angle lens that I normally use to record my videos with my digital SLR is unfortunately fucked. I was drunk one night. I believe had a couple of whiskeys and I must have fell over the camera stand, and I didn't realise I fell over the camera stand, and I broke just the circuitry and everything else. I mean, probably could have been repaired, but I thought, fuck it, no. Lenses for that particular camera are not overly expensive. I mean, they probably set me back about $200 and something, but at the end of it, I'd rather buy a new lens than try to repair the old one, to be truthful. So that's what I did. I pretty much, well, I'm going to. I plan to buy a new lens for it, which is okay. I do have another lens for it, but the problem is it's more of a wide angle sort of lens where it's a distance lens. It's not designed to do close up stuff. So I'm getting a close up sort of 35, was that 50? 18mm to 55mm or something. I think that was the actual one that I had before, which does quite a good job when I'm doing YouTube videos and just recording stuff and things like that. So I have to pick one of those up. At this point, I'm waiting for some money to clear into PayPal. I'm waiting for a couple of things to clear up, and then hopefully then I should have enough to do what I want to do with. I'm damn sure I will have enough once everything's cleared up and everything. I mean. See, that's the problem with PayPal these days. A lot of the times the money is delayed when it's going into your account. Not your account, but when it's going into your stuff, pretty much. Pretty much when it's coming into your PayPal account, it can be delayed, but just simply because of the way they've configured it, I guess. I don't know. It's also to do with customer satisfaction as well. They want to know that the customer's happy. But I've been getting some good positive feedback on eBay, which has been great. I'm quite happy with that. In between getting good feedback, I've been doing a bunch of other stuff around the workshop, helping my family out on and off, doing that as well, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty happy. At this point, what I want to do, I've sort of organised my workspace a bit better. As you can see, I've got my shelving now. Probably tuck that computer a bit more in the corner when I'm done doing the installs and updates and stuff on it. This computer is currently for sale, which I'm in the process of just organising and getting Windows, which Windows is set up on it. I just need to muck around with Windows a little more. To make sure it's got all its updates. I mean, it hasn't got Windows 10 or anything like that. If anybody wants Windows 10, I've managed to put Windows 7 on it because I had an old key lying around, but I put Windows 7 on it for now, and if anybody wants Windows 10, they're going to have to pay for Windows 10, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's just the way it works. But that's okay, you can get the keys for like $40 anyway, so it's not an issue. What else have we got? At this point, I've got... What have we got? It's a bunch of fans and all the other stuff the lovely stuff that makes up my workshop. I've pretty much been trying to keep myself organised as best I possibly can. The fact that now I have a bit more organisation and this machine is now working is actually making me feel a lot better in the sense of production and being productive. So, I mean, at the end of it, I've actually, I'm achieving quite some good stuff lately, which has been good. I recently had a blood test. Went to the doctor, had a blood test. Came back pretty clear. Only thing was my cholesterol was a bit high, which, at the end of it, that's something I'm working on. I'm trying to stick to green teas, trying to stay away from takeaway foods if I can help it. Trying to sort of, cut down on fats if I can, basically if I can help it. And maybe I've been doing a little bit more exercise on the exercise bike, which has been good. It's been a good journey. Well, so far it has been anyway. I've been doing pretty well with that. Enjoying it to a certain extent. Well, as much as you can enjoy exercise in a given situation, so I'm not doing too bad, considering my medical conditions to start with. I've been doing that, but everything else came back. They did an ultrasound of my liver and all my other stuff, and they said everything looks okay. My liver was just a bit fatty, but that was I need to do with the fact that my cholesterol is probably high. So, I mean, that's most likely, she said. And blood count was good, the sugar was good. Blood count was good, sugar was good, and what else was good? Everything seemed pretty on level of what it should be for me. As I said, the only thing is my cholesterol's a bit high, and that was about the only thing that she pointed out that she could see that was a bad or a negative thing. Mainly it was because to be honest, I hadn't had a blood test for 11 years. So that's the reason I hadn't had a sort of checkup type of thing in 11 years. Mind you, I tend to most of the time look after myself if I can help it. But the other side of it too is, it always helps to get a blood test every so often. So I didn't go too bad with that. My vitamin levels were all good. My sugars were good, all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. That sounds good. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not doing too bad considering that I hadn't had a blood test for so long, and I was pretty much happy with that. And it shows that I was actually doing something right. I wasn't wrong about, certain things in my life, and, wasn't doing the wrong thing. Obviously, I was doing the right thing, but yeah. Aside from that, what else? I've been trying to. I'm still waiting for a few things in the post. At this point, I'm waiting for a new. I'll show it to you. It's going to be my new unboxing knife. As soon as I do some unboxing stuff, because I haven't really done any stuff like that for a long time. I haven't done much unboxing. So I might actually do an unboxing video at some point. I just don't know what it's going to be. At this point, I don't know what it's going to be. It may be some new tech, but I don't know what type of tech it's going to be. I just haven't had a lot of inspiration to sort of go towards YouTube yet. It's just my repairs have doubled or increased from what they used to be. So a lot of that's taken my main focus of late with a lot of the stuff I've been doing. Plus I've had my my good and my bad days. I have my up and my down days. So, there's some days I don't feel like doing much, and I just my normal function level is down a bit. So, because of my other issues, my schizophrenia, my OCD, my Asperger's, and of course my depression and anxiety in combination of that. And the truth is, it's just it's hard sometimes, some days, not always, just sometimes. And the truth is, I've worked out that nobody's perfect. It doesn't matter who you are or what walk of life you come from. Nobody's perfect. The conclusion that I did have come to, though, is I want to put some bit more stuff into YouTube. That doing that website up was definitely a benefit to me. I might even start doing some Twitch streaming again. I haven't done Twitch streaming for God knows how long now. I haven't been in the mood to do Twitch streaming, to be honest. So, at the end of it, it's sort of comes and goes, The other side of it too is what else? It's all pretty much been a combination of keeping myself busy, keeping myself working. I had a couple of friends and other situations pop up in my life that I thought I had real friends, but apparently they're not real friends, or they don't want to, or they feel the need not to be real friends, I guess, in context. And it's kind of shitty, really. You think you can rely on people, but apparently you can't. Well, I don't know. I've always been taught, and I was always taught I was able to rely on my own family. So I can't understand why I couldn't rely on my own friends either. It's kind of fucked that I don't have reliable friends. Yeah, it's kind of screwed in that situation, and kind of fucked up, and it doesn't. Yeah, it's a chapter of my life I just want to forget and move on, and find my way through things and just find myself. Because the truth is, that's what I'm doing. I'm finding myself, and I found myself. I'm a happy technician who works on his computers, does all his other stuff, and gets his business going and everything else. Look, at the end of it, I do eventually want to find a woman, but I want to find a woman who won't abuse me, who won't use me, whether it's financially or otherwise. And at the end of it, I just want a woman who's want to spend as much time with me as I want to spend with them. So yeah, that's sort of the thing. It's all over the place with that sort of. I either get one side of the spectrum. I either get one that doesn't really want to spend as much time with me as I want, or I get one that wants to spend too much time with me and doesn't give me any freedom at all. And then you have the ones that emotionally abuse you. That's just, yeah, that's wonderful. No, it's not wonderful. You can note the sarcasm in that one. Yeah, emotional abuse is a very, very hard thing to deal with sometimes, especially in certain situations. Feeling emotionally abused, feeling like you're being abused, feel like you're being pushed away or pushed forward, or it can be a combination of those things anyway. But it's a hard situation to deal with sometimes, especially if you do have issues, and pretty much that person turns around and makes you look like the crazy one because they're saying your issues are the things that are causing problems, when in fact it's not anything to really do with your issues, because you have your issues under control, whereas they don't have their issues under control, to be honest. So that's the other side of it. And pretty much at this point, I just, I've learned that just sometimes, especially these days, you've got to take the good with the bad. A lot of the times I've been pretty positive lately. I've been pretty outgoing and positive about things in my life that are happening in my life. And, I'm trying to be anyway. There's still those moments where I have negativity, no doubt of that. But, fuck it. I don't know. There's moments where I literally get pissed off, and, there's probably moments where I get angry too. There's definitely moments where I get angry. But I think there's a legitimate reason for me going nuts like I do. Especially if because I know I hold a lot of things in, especially if I feel somebody's bothering me with something, I try to ignore it for as long as I possibly can, and then I pretty much explode on the person, because, they've been egging on, and they're either trying to, not appeal to my jealousy, but they're trying to drive me jealously mad, or they're trying to do something else, or they're trying to push at me because I want to see how far that I can go, which is kind of fucked in my personal opinion, to be honest. Particularly women, I don't know, it's particularly women who do that. I'm not saying it's all women that do it, but, there's the other side of it too. Women can be manipulative, same with men. Men can be the same. But the other side of it too is that even if women can be manipulative, there's just men that's just as bad in some situations. But I also think it's more of a woman thing, because they can manipulate a man's emotions and how he feels about something, or about something specific. Now, I'm sorry, at the end of it, I think that's pretty unfair that they try to take as much crap as they do, and they try to push it through. And I don't know, kind of shits me. But that's beside the point. I can't really do much about that at this point. But I know that I do deserve. Firstly, I deserve somebody who is going to benefit me in my life, not financially or emotionally drain me. Those are two things I'm going to point out. I need a woman who's going to benefit me in my life. I need a woman who's going to help me. I also need a woman who's going to be loyal. I also need a woman who's going to stand by me in a situation where things either get better or worse. But I mean, most of the time lately they've been getting better since I've been doing and focusing on the things I want to focus on. Now the other side of it too is, I've been trying to find. I think I've been trying to find somebody local, but I mean, I don't know. Most of my long distance relationships seem to have failed at some point, whether it's through emotional abuse or otherwise. So I don't know whether I will try another long distance relationship or whether I won't. It will depend on how I'm feeling. Even if I were to do that, for example, the other side of it too is, that person's got to understand that I've got to build myself up. I've got to build things up, and which I've been doing lately. I've been building a lot of stuff up in my life, and it's actually coming along a lot better than I thought it would. And not just that, my health is generally pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that. My mental health has always been in question, but that's always the fact. I already knew I was fucking insane anyway. That wasn't the issue. But, the other side of it too, it's also finding someone who understands when you do have problems and you do have issues, and they're willing to understand and say, well, okay, you have this issue, you have that problem, at the end of it, that's cool. I'm willing to deal with it when, willing to cross that bridge when we come to it. So, look, at the end of it, I think it vastly depends on the person. I said, there's some guys just as bad, there's some women just as bad, and it's all down to the difference of opinion sometimes, I guess, to a certain extent. And the truth of the matter is that I try to be as friendly, as kind, as compassionate, and I try to give 100% to people around me. Now, the problem with that is that I do that, but I don't feel like people always give the same amount back. I don't feel like people always give the same amount of appreciation back either in certain situations. And I don't think it's everybody who's that way. I think it's only some people, to be honest. I'll probably end up putting this on Facebook, and I'll end up putting it on Facebook and probably... Well, no, I can't put it on Facebook. I'll probably end up putting it on YouTube anyway. But the conclusion that I've come to is that just because you put 100% effort in doesn't mean that the other person's going to do it. And it doesn't mean that the other person's going to, put their all into it just because you are. Just because you're giving... Just because you're giving your best doesn't mean that other person's going to do the same. So, ultimately, life's complicated, things are complicated, relationships are complicated, everything is complicated if you let it be, and the truth is, I'm a complex person to start with, so that's just like doubling over on everything. At the end of it, I will say, though, I'm doing well now, I'm feeling good, trying to move forward, and one foot in front of the other, and that's all I can really fucking do. That's the best I can do at this point. And that one foot in front of the other thing seems to be working so far. It seems to be working in my favour. So, in between that, just waiting for this machine to reboot. Yep, there it goes. Just installing that update at the moment. But this is just a bit of a video on updating of life and what I'm doing. And it's mostly related to my repairs, but I thought I'd just show you the repair bay. It's still a bit of a work in progress. This part is that's my dad's part of the garage. What I want to hopefully do is clear out those boxes over there in the corner next to the window and put in the air conditioning unit there. And I'm going to run it out, and that's going to be able to cool and keep me cool and keep me warm in winter. Winter or summer. Keep me cool in summer, warm in winter. So yeah. In between that, and there it goes. Yep, that's it. Yes. That's just updating at the moment. It's going through. It's restarted about 1000 times. Just doing that freaking update at the moment. So, in between that, how am I feeling in general? Not too bad. I was going to sit back and relax. I had a green tea with peppermint this afternoon. It's been a bit more relaxing, cleared my head. I've been sleeping. I haven't been sleeping too bad. I've been sleeping a little bit better in some respects, and I think it depends on how I sleep. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Anyway, thank you very much, YouTube. Like, favorite, and subscribe. If you want to contribute to my Patreon campaign or make a donation to my PayPal, you feel free, because as I said, at the end of it, it does help me out, especially if you want to see some new tech videos and stuff like that. There's not a problem for me to bring it out, but sometimes some monetary value does actually help the situation a lot. So if you want to, and there's no pressure on that. But yeah, like, favorite, and subscribe. You can also check out my website, which is listed on my YouTube page as well. There's a bunch of stuff on the list on my YouTube page as well. So just check that out and have a look. Anyway, thank you very much, and catch you. Bye.